Hey guys, welcome to the SaleFreaks channel. Thanks so much for clicking on this video. I hope you find the content really interesting and useful. This video is about one of the guys that I have coached for a number of months now using the SaleFreaks system. I just want to explain a couple of things about the video before you start watching this video that we've created for you. There's a lot of information in there with regards to dropshipping mindset, how he has created his own freedom from using dropshipping, how he's been able to reduce his hours from work and all this other cool stuff, how he's went from earning zero money from dropshipping, zero knowledge on eBay, to now earning over £1,000 per month in his spare time using dropshipping, eBay, and most importantly, the SaleFreaks platform. So with all that said, we'll jump straight into the video and hopefully you guys will really enjoy the content. I really enjoyed making the video. It was a really fun discussion. And yeah, would be happy to hear any feedback in the comments on your own journey, or reach out to us if we can help you with your own dropshipping business. Hey guys, it's Michael from SaleFreaks here. Today I've got a really special guest with me. I've got Dan, who I've been coaching for the last couple of months. I only met him recently. I'm going to pass you over to Dan now. He's going to tell you a little bit about how he started dropshipping, how long he's been dropshipping for. So Dan, yeah, take it away, man.
Hey everyone, so I have quite a weird journey, to be honest. So I started nearly 2 years ago, not long after the first lockdown in the UK. Started with a different system, only recently come across the SaleFreaks. I actually started because I heard from a friend of a friend about dropshipping, didn't know anything about it, but I've always believed that if someone's in a position that you want to be in, you should kind of listen to them and let them guide you. And my friend she was a proper businesswoman. We took the opportunity together, again, having no idea what we were kind of doing, just loads of passion and enthusiasm. So I started off with 2 stores from day dot. Again, not really knowing anything about dropshipping, eBay, product research, things like that. Was just going through using a system, operating at the same profit markup. A month later, I actually opened 2 more stores because for me personally, I was just focusing on becoming as big as I could, as quick as I could, which has brought in a lot of kind of struggles and difficulties now. About 6 months after that, I opened 2 more stores. So I currently have 6 stores, which before I moved to SaleFreaks were around 30,000 listings across all of the 6 businesses.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Just to roll back, I remember when you reached out on Instagram from a referral from another friend who'd used dropshipping, and I remember asking you a few questions, and when you said to me that you had only been dropshipping for less than a year, but you had 5 or 6 stores at this point in time, I thought wow, okay, so these kind of people don't come along that often, especially so early into the journey. So how did you go from having 2 stores? What was kind of your motivation, your thought process behind scaling up so quickly? Because I know there's a lot of people that tend to kind of tread water with 1 store and they're pretty scared to scale up. And even the people that want to scale up tend to maybe get 2 stores. And I've seen a lot of people with maybe 2 or 3 stores, but a lot of people kind of new to the game. They're not jumping into 5 or 6 stores straight away. So I just want to know a bit about your thought process, or where your motivation came from.
Good question. So I've always been a very enthusiastic kind of person, and I've always kind of had really big vision for my goals. So for me, when I was sitting down and after maybe a month or 2 of dropshipping, I was going, right, okay, what is going to hinder me from my vision, and what does my vision look like, and then I'm going to work backwards. So for example, I envisioned myself being this boss e-commerce coach, big on Instagram, helping thousands of people change their lives. And to be able to do that, I need to be able to create a certain amount of wealth, income, experience, and skill to achieve that. So my goal originally, after a month or 2 of starting, was, okay, I want 10 stores and 10,000 listings. Okay, then I was breaking that down and I was going, how long is it going to take me to get there? And I was 3 years. I want to do it in 3 years. And originally, especially because we were in and out of lockdowns, the investment is so small. whether you have a coach or not, whatever program you go on, whatever system you use. But ultimately, I thought, okay, I'm gonna work this business, and every single penny that I bring back in, I'm gonna invest into the growth of the business. So the one biggest thing that actually stops you from growing in this type of dropshipping is eBay, and it's because it puts those selling limits on your account. So in my head, I was like, I'm not going to wait till I want to grow, because essentially you want to grow as wide as you do high. So you don't want to have like just one store with loads of listings. You want to essentially have like a couple of stores, or 6 to 10 in my opinion, all at different levels, all growing at different rates. Some will be absolutely like, I say it's like people that have multiple children. You'll have like your favorite kid, that store is just always doing well, always like making loads of money. You don't even put that much effort into it and they just fly. And then you'll have other stores that are like such a handful and such a nightmare, even though they're smaller and they should, you're doing exactly the same process, but you're not getting the same result. And so for me, why would you then wait until you'd hit, say, you know, one store, 10,000 listings, to then open another store with only a 100 item limit? No, get that store set up about 3 months before you actually want to do anything proper with it, so that you can start to increase your limits and increase the price limits. And then when you're ready to expand and develop your habits, you can then push that one up to 10K a lot quicker.
There's a couple of things that you mentioned there that are quite interesting. Well, the first one being is that you're definitely not allowed to have favorite children.
I feel like parents do, they just don't talk about it.
No, it's not true at all. But yeah, one of the things that I picked up on, you talked about scaling wider as opposed to higher, and obviously with every account that we have, we want to get the most out of those accounts. So whilst, as you say, it's important to grow each account that you have, there's a very important element of scaling sideways as well. And this is what I tell people. So even if you don't have the aspirations to grow your business in terms of your financial expectation of the business, you don't want to keep growing and growing and growing. You need to think about a risk management system as well. So if you're relying on only one eBay account and eBay can pull the plug on you at any time, then you're leaving yourself open for, even if you're happy with making $500 a month or $1,000 a month, and that's taken over on one account. If that account goes, that income goes with it. So if you don't scale sideways and you don't constantly think about, you know, that side of the risk, you know, then I think you're mad. And that's what I really liked about you, that you're putting so many factors into place to actually prevent that from happening. Because I don't know about anybody else, but if I was making even $500 a month and I was using that money for something, because obviously regardless of what we use the money for, it's being used for something, even if it's just sitting in an account, you know, being saved, or whether it's putting towards your rent or whatever. If someone was to take away £500 of your money or $500 of your money that you earned on a monthly basis from a job, you'd be pretty annoyed about it. So you want it, you know, or else you're just crazy. But most people will enjoy that financial benefit that comes with that. So
with what you're saying as well, I'd like to add on to that. So most people who actually start dropshipping, they start it as like a side hustle. So there's some reason why you've started that side hustle, and it's because you've either read about the benefits of multiple streams of income, you know. And I always say this as well, when you start dropshipping as a side hustle, it is for selfish reasons. You might say, oh, it's because I want more money for the kids or the holiday or this and this and this. But it's okay to want to start something new that you're putting your time and effort into for yourself, even if it does benefit other people in the long run. So within that multiple stream of income, that secondary income that you've created, it's just as smart to have multiple streams of income in that other category as well. And so, yeah, that's just to back up what you say. Like, why just, in my head, I don't know whether it's because I'm a bit greedy or really enthusiastic, I was like, one store, everyone has one store, so I'm going to have two. And then 2 months later, okay, I'm going to open another two and just see how those get on. And believe it or not, through my journey so far, the first store that I ever opened, I actually don't have anymore. And yeah, you know, do I wish that I'd hired a coach when I first started, but that store got flagged. I didn't really know what I was doing with it. I wasn't the best at product research. And that store ended up just kind of losing me money, so I just got rid of it. Upon reflection, if I knew what I knew now, I could probably be making some decent money with that store. But imagine if that was my only store in dropshipping. That store had been open for like 12 months, imagine that was my only store and that is the only experience that I'd had. When I did hit a big barrier or a big new learning curve, I don't know, depending on your mindset, that could kick you out of the game. You could be like, you know what, my time with dropshipping is done.
Yeah.
But because I had my other stores and some were performing really well and stuff like that, I was like, this is just unfortunately sometimes the aim of the game. So my vision and my belief system and my goals were challenged, but never like a threat.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. It's just, like, I'm going to go back to a couple of other points, but yeah, just to touch on that as well. I mean, I've seen a lot of people that have built a really good eBay store and have a good income, and it's been, you know, their legs have been chopped out from underneath them, and they've just thought, I'm not going to start all over again. It's like building a big massive tower of blocks, someone coming knocking it all over, and then you're like, yeah, I'm done with this game. You know, I'm not going to do that all again. Do you know what I mean? So and it's really weird seeing that, and I probably would have been in that boat had I not, you know, progressed the way I did as well, because it's very hard to come back from something like that if something's whipped away from you, and you know that it's not something you can build overnight either. It's something that has to take, you know, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months to where you fully understand where it becomes a business and you treat it like a business. So having those multiple stores is 100%. And like I say, just credit to you that you've kind of figured this out really on your own. So your journey's kind of been similar to me. Like didn't have any like sort of formal like coaching or mentor, and I didn't follow a course. I kind of stumbled my way through until I met my business partner. We kind of, you know, knocked our heads together with a few things and, you know, bounced ideas off each other, and we finally figured out, and we became wider in the community. We became open to talking to more people and so on and so on. But you've done this pretty early in your journey, which is quite unique, quite new to me. But I want to go back. You mentioned about eBay limits and things as well. I mean, how easy or difficult did you find that you were getting limit increase, or you got, you know, your limits increased on eBay? Because you actually wanted multiple stores to kind of combat against that. But how did you actually find, when you started running multiple stores, how those lists and limits actually increased for you? Was it difficult? What was your process?
I think, to be honest, when I obviously did have less stores, so the first couple of months I would product research everything myself, and this was before I knew anything about Zik or any other kind of. I was going on Amazon and I was looking at products myself, and like, if you asked me to do that now, I'd say you're a crazy person. You know, probably my value of my own time was so low, especially like on furlough and lockdowns. I was like, right, let's just crack on. Let's spend hours looking for products. So ultimately, eBay it is like the difficult system essentially. For every store doesn't follow the same pattern, but it shouldn't, because you don't have the same items, and we understand that. But I know that it can be a level of frustration for some people. So, you know, obviously we always promote taking over a store that has already got, you know, reviews, feedback, some history, things like that. Because it does start you off on a really solid good foot. Answering your question, I'm going to say the quality of your product and service is what's going to get you those selling increases earlier on. Like, we know that we can get you started on 100 items. If you have stores starting on 500 to 1,000, we know that we can kind of push that a bit harder in the beginning and, you know, get you more profitable. But I believe the increases in a good store would grow quicker than you needed to, you know, especially if you don't want to get flagged. If you're not willing to put in the work, then I feel like you're going to see difficulty in selling increases, because why would eBay offer you more when you're not doing the maximum of what they're offering you in the first place? So you really do have to break down in your own head, have a bit of self-awareness about your business and go, right, if I have like a 200 item store and I've grown there in the first month and I've made 3 sales, you should not expect a selling increase, because if you're only selling 3 items, 200 listings, and eBay doesn't have enough like understanding of who you are, what your product is, what your service is, if you're dispatching things on time, if you're dealing with any returns correctly and things like that. So really just think in the first couple of months when you're starting to dropship, what is my service and what is my product? And I want as many people to have it as possible, not worrying as much about what your profitability is, but constantly looking at like, what value am I giving people and what service am I giving people? And then eBay will just think you're like super sexy, and they will just honestly go, sell more. And then they'll be increasing you more than what you can keep up with.
It's interesting to hear you say that as well, but it is like a double-edged sword, because people will come to me and reach out and say like, I've got a new eBay account, but it's only got 100 items. It's only got 100 items listed, and I say like, how many have you got listed? And they're like, oh no, I haven't started yet. And I'm like, well, I mean,
yeah,
let's work towards getting 100 listings on and see where that takes. Because ultimately, the double-edged sword also comes in the fact that you don't want to go and just dump straight away. Like if you've got 1,000 item limit, you don't want to just dump 1,000 items on there, because again, although eBay give you the item limit, they don't like you using it all. So they're a funny, like weird, complex kind of creature in that way, that like I could have 100,000 limits, but if I list 1,000 in one day, they're gonna think, what's going on here? So what you have to do is you have to grow that account like kind of almost just naturally with quality items, and they should give you organic increases. So, I mean, that's obviously what you've done on the majority of your stores. So you also mentioned about new stores, older stores having a better footing. But can you give me an idea of, you obviously have multiple stores. Can you give me an idea of where some of those started off as in where the old accounts being used and what the limits are now, and maybe compare that with some of the newer ones and where your limits are as well in those?
Yeah, of course. So, say my biggest store at the moment, which at its peak has had like 15,000 listings on it. That was actually a brand new store, and it was a store that I opened like on the first day. My ex-partner at the time had an eBay account for like 8 years, so we actually opened both accounts on the same day. But mine was a brand new account, and his was like 8 years old, right? So straight away, we had 100 item limit on the brand new account and 1,000 item limit on the older account. Now, I think it's a lot harder to open newer accounts, especially personal ones, and get good limits and things just to start off with. I think you've got to play a bit of a better game in that way. But as I said, brand new store, literally like 16 months ago or something, and is now, the limit it has is like 160,000 items, and it's 800k in value.
Yeah.
And it's not flagged.
Yeah, so, which is pretty huge. And I mean, if you could, if we could even get close to those limits, I mean, that would be a hell of a lot of revenue, a hell of a lot of items to be putting on one store. Never mind you having 6 potential stores that you can grow in a similar way. And how do you find the performance? I mean, we'll touch back on that, but you mentioned it's more difficult to open eBay accounts, more difficult to start eBay accounts these days. And I think realistically with that is, when you open an eBay account, eBay have obviously a strict security team. They're wanting to avoid fraudulent people, and they're wanting to avoid scammers. So it's not, the process isn't difficult to get a brand new eBay account. The process is difficult to make. Basically, you want to be a regular eBay user. So, and I actually think as a dropshipper, having never used eBay before, if you're brand new to eBay and brand new to dropshipping, I actually feel you're in a much better place to open an eBay account and be a regular eBay user, as in, buy some stuff, go to car boot sales, buy and sell some stuff, do some regular retail arbitrage where you can go online or go into a shop and identify things that are going to, buy low and sell high, and build up your account that way, rather than going in and drop shipping straight away on an account, on a brand new account, because I think that's probably the easiest way to upset eBay, for want of a better phrase. And if you imagine it from their point of view, this guy comes on, he's opened the account today, and he's suddenly listing an item with a stock image which has been pulled from the internet. It's fairly obvious, and they have like an algorithm to detect where the pictures came from, if it's been taken by someone or it's been pulled from the internet. So, and people fail to realize that. But you've managed to do it, and you've managed to do it well. again, touching back on what you said before, I think every eBay account is really different. I mean, again, you mentioned about having different items. We've actually ran tests where we have had like for like accounts listing the same items at the same percent, basically mirroring everything on two accounts, and the results have been completely different, you know, ups and downs. We haven't done it over a longer period to actually see whether it evens out, but my belief is some accounts start off better than others, but if you keep doing the same things over and over and over again the correct way, everything will balance out in the long run.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing the right things. But how do you find the performance has differed between a new account, for example, and an older account?